Level 1. The hardcore gamer. You're 24, you live in Buffalo. You've got $11 in checking and 3,000 hours in a game you didn't make. And in 15 years you'll run one of the biggest game studios on the planet. Tonight you're at ResCon, arguing with strangers about frame rates, when a guy your age named Marcus hands you a business card. It says founder and creative visionary. He's made 0 games. 0. He clocks the lanyard you stitched yourself and says, "Cute. You a cosplayer or a developer? You want to fire back." Problem is, he's not wrong. You've never shipped a line of code. Your nicest possession is a $200 IKEA chair the model's named the Marcus. The closest any Marcus will ever come to supporting you. Then he's gone, back into the crowd, handing that same card to people who actually matter. That card sits in your drawer for 15 years. One day, Marcus hands you a resume where it used to be. But that's 15 years away. Tonight, he's the visionary, and you're a guy with 3,000 hours and nothing to show for them. So you drive home and open Unity for the first time. Not to make a game, to make him wrong. Level 2. The hobbyist. You're not learning to make games. You're learning to make Marcus wrong. That's the dumbest possible reason to learn C#, and the only reason anyone ever does. There's a second reason, and she's the one that sticks. Before Marcus swept off to work the room, a girl in a handmade costume watched you lose that hitbox argument and laughed with you. Not at you, then asked what you were building. You said, a game. You were not building a game. Now you have to, or you're a liar in front of the only person at ResCon who was kind to you. You open Unity and the empty scene stares back like it knows your GPA. 3 days later you have a gray cube that jumps. That's the game. A gray cube on a gray floor, jumping when you hit spacebar. Running at 400 frames a second on a hand-me-down Acer because there is nothing on screen to render. You show her. She says it's cute. Cute is not the word you wanted. Nobody tells you how much you don't know until you're inside it. You learn what a game loop is. You learn what a hitbox is the hard way, when your cube falls through the floor because you forgot to tell the collider it exists. You watch a Brackeys tutorial, understand nothing, then watch 40 more and finish exactly 0. You spend 6 hours building a main menu for a game that has no game behind the button. The dream is designing worlds. The job is spending your entire Saturday making a checkbox turn the music off while a family-sized Taco Bell order quietly dies next to the keyboard. Then a game jam. GMTK. 48 hours. A theme dropped at midnight. Thousands of strangers building something from nothing at the exact same time. You don't sleep. You run on Celsius and Spite and fix bugs you personally created 90 minutes earlier. Hour 47, 1 hour left, your build crashes on export. No error. Just a window that closes and takes everything with it, like it owes you money. You are alone. It is 3 a.m. Nobody is coming, and you fix it. One missing reference, the kind of thing that later takes you 9 seconds and tonight takes 51 minutes and a rib. It runs. You upload to itch.io with 4 minutes to spare. 11 people play it. 11. And one stranger you will never meet leaves a comment. This is actually kind of fun. There are drugs that cost real money and do less. Because here's what you figure out at 3 a.m. with 11 downloads and $0. Making the cube jump was tutorials. Making a stranger feel something was the job. You've been grinding the wrong achievement, so you start the real thing. Not for the girl, not for Marcus. A weird little horror game about a lighthouse that eats light instead of making it. You call it ROTLIGHT. You keep the build in a folder you drag from laptop to laptop like it's a kidney. You make it because you want to. That's the most dangerous thing you can do in this business, because the weird game you're building alone in a Buffalo bedroom is the exact reason 1,000 people will one day need your signature to get paid. It won't make sense for 15 years. Every studio on Earth started as one idiot too stubborn to go to bed. You post a screenshot in a Discord. Meanwhile, Marcus posts his first game, a slick vertical slice with no game under it, and gets 200 wish lists in a day. Yours has 12. You stare at that gap for a long time. Then you do the thing that ends this level and begins all your problems. You put ROTLIGHT on Steam. You have no idea what that costs. Level 3. The indie developer. Putting a game on Steam costs $100, which sounds like nothing until you realize it's 2 shifts at the job you took to fund the dream of quitting the job. You pay it. You build the store page. You upload Rotlight and start refreshing the wishlist number like it's a court verdict. It climbs to 40. Then it stops. You refresh anyway. At work. At red lights. At 2 a.m. 40, 40, 40. The number does not care that you are watching it. You marry the girl that spring. Courthouse in downtown Buffalo, a witness you found in the hallway. Reception at Mighty Taco because the honeymoon fund went to a guy on Fiverr who cut your launch trailer for $80 and misspelled the title in the thumbnail. She orders the Super Mighty. It is, to this day, the best wedding either of you has been to. She's the one who tells people you're a game developer at parties out loud before you've earned the right to the word. You want to correct her. You don't. Free marketing is free marketing. Launch day. Rotlight goes live to the entire planet, and the entire planet keeps scrolling. Your first review lands an hour in. 1 thumbs down. The whole review is a bug report. The lighthouse beam clips through a wall on the 2nd floor, and this man paid you $6 to find that out and reviewed it like it ran over his dog. So you fix it. That night, 3 a.m., you patch the wall and write patch notes like a human being instead of a legal department. You thank the guy by username. You explain what broke. You grovel. He flips his review to a thumbs up. Dev actually listens, he writes. That is the nicest thing a man has ever said about you, and he is anonymous, and his profile picture is an anime cat. 63 copies. That's the whole launch. 63. But that 1 thumbs up feels bigger than the money, and that feeling is a trap, because you will chase it for 15 years into rooms that do not pay it back. Here's the lesson, and it shows up about a year late. Making a good game is half the job. You spend 8 months on the half nobody sees. The other half is wish lists, TikTok, and an algorithm that owes you exactly nothing and knows it. Marcus figures out the other half first. His game's still shallow, still gorgeous, still hollow, catches 1 mid-sized streamer, then a 15-second TikTok, and rides it to the Steam front page. He outsells Rotlight 10 to 1. Not because it's better, because he understood the algorithm and you understood Kaleidos. One of those pays rent. You want to be mad. You mostly just take notes on your phone in a Tim Hortons parking lot. Then, an email. A recruiter at an actual studio, the kind whose games you begged your mom for at a GameStop midnight launch, found your dev actually listens reputation and wants you for a junior role. Salary. Health insurance. A badge that opens a door with a real logo on it. You accept in 4 minutes. Faster than Marcus grabbed his wish lists. You tell yourself Rotlight is just paused. You copy the folder onto the work laptop, just in case. You tell yourself the kid who shipped a Lighthouse game out of a Buffalo bedroom is going to walk in and teach these people something. You don't know it yet, but that kid is going to spend the next decade signing other people's paychecks before he finishes his own game. You just think you got a job. Level 4. The junior developer. The job's in Los Angeles. So you and your wife pack a U-Haul and leave Buffalo for the one city where everyone's tan, broke, and somehow also in the industry. Day 1, they hand you the bug nobody wants. The water renders wrong on one specific console, a greenish seam on the horizon that only shows up on hardware half the team doesn't own. The ticket is 400 days old. It's been assigned to 6 people. All 6 found Jesus and handed it back. Your dev actually listens charm means nothing here. Nobody's listening. There are 200 people and a ship date. You learn the machine fast because the machine does not slow down for you. You learn perforce, where every file you touch is checked out like a library book. And God help you if 2 people edit the same one. You learn Jira, a piece of software whose only purpose is to make work feel like more work. You learn stand up the meeting where grown adults form a circle every morning and each say no blockers in a chipper little voice while being spiritually entirely blocked. Everybody says no blockers. Everybody is blocked. That's the first thing you understand that they don't teach. You learn code review, where you submit the most elegant function of your life and a senior writes over-engineered simplify. And you delete 4 hours of work, do it the boring way, and the boring way is better. And you would like to fight this person in an in-and-out parking lot. You learn a milestone is a date picked by a producer who's never opened the engine, and the game ships on that date, done or not, because the date is God, and the game is just whatever's in the box when God shows up. QA finds a crash you swore was impossible. You wrote the code. You know it can't happen. It happens. On video. Reproduced in 3 steps by a 19-year-old contractor on a Red Bull and a hunch. Your indie ego, the one that shipped 63 copies and felt like Hideo Kojima, takes the exact hit it needed. So you shut up and work. That 400-day water bug, you kill it on an unpaid weekend by reading commit history from 3 years ago that everyone else was too proud to open. The fix is 9 lines. The seam vanishes. Monday stand-up, the lead announces it. Great news, the water bug's finally dead. Super proud of the team on this one. The team. Not your name. The team. You open your mouth. You close it. You say no blockers, and you eat it with a breakfast taco. But the senior gameplay programmer, the one who deleted your 4 hours, catches you at the Herman Miller chairs by the coffee machine. That was you, right? The commit archaeology. You nod. She says, nobody reads the history. Come do the real stuff. And that's the trade nobody prints on the badge. The credit went to the team. But the one person whose opinion changes your paycheck saw exactly what you did. In this building that beats your name in a stand-up. Took you a while to believe her. You watch a producer cut a beautiful traversal system 6 months of a man's life. Genuinely great in 90 seconds. It's out of scope. 3 words. Somebody's masterpiece, deleted because a calendar said so, while an $18 poke bowl goes warm in the meeting. Then they promote you. Gameplay programmer on the flagship, the big one. The budget bigger than every game you'll ever make alone. Bigger title. Bigger project. Bigger countdown too. You just can't see the clock yet. Across town, Marcus quietly raises a seed round and starts a studio of his own. That business card in your drawer stops being a joke. It starts being a head start. Level 5. The gameplay programmer. Now you build the stuff people actually feel. Not water on a horizon the weight of a swing, the half-second of hang time on a jump, the enemy that seems to read your mind because you spent 3 weeks teaching it to. Combat feel. AI behavior. The boss that has to be hard but fair, which is 2 words doing the work of 1,000 nights and 1 divorce. You're good at it. You're also sleeping at your desk. Crunch has a smell. Cold in and out. Dry erase marker, and the specific fear sweat of a building the cleaning crew gave up on. 2 more weeks, they say. 2 more weeks becomes 8. The ship date is God, and God is hungry, and God accepts Red Bull as tribute. Your marriage becomes a series of texts left on read, not out of cruelty. Out of a live build that breaks at 11 p.m. on the one night you swore you'd be home. And you stay, because if you don't, the whole team is blocked at stand-up, and you can always make it up to her. And you always mean it the way a man means it at 11 p.m. holding a monster and a broken build. She stops asking when you'll be home. You take this as her being supportive. Write that one down, the divorce lawyer will enjoy it. Then the boss fight. The one the whole team wrote off as unshippable, too hard, feels cheap, testers rage quit into their Del Taco. You take it home in your skull for a month. You tune hitboxes frame by frame. You add a telegraph, a little shoulder drop tell. So the player loses fair instead of losing confused. And in playtest, a tester who's died 40 times finally reads the tell, dodges, and beats it, and stands straight up out of his chair and screams. That scream! That's the drug! That's the thing you traded 60 dinners for. And in that moment, God help you, it feels like a fair trade. Then Marcus ships. His studio drops a competing game the same month as your flagship. It's shallow reused assets. Systems a mile wide and an inch deep, but it feels incredible for exactly 2 hours, which, and this is not an accident, is the length of the Steam refund window. It reviews like a dream and outsells your flagship in a week. And he throws a launch party at ResCon, the same convention floor where you met your wife. You don't go. There's a day 1 patch, the saves are corrupting, and you're the only one who knows why. So you stay at the studio at 11 p.m., protecting the save files of a million strangers. Your wife goes to the party alone. Marcus takes her home. You find out from a Slack message, not from her. From a coworker at 1 a.m. who leads with a link and the word bro. A gaming blog is already running it, cheating scandal. In the headline, because Marcus is famous now and you're the rival dev. So your studio's name is in there for the SEO. Your marriage ends and the first place you read about it has a cookie banner and 3 autoplay ads for a mobile game. You sit in the empty office, safe corruption bug half fixed on one monitor, entire personal life on the other. And the thought you actually have is, of course he did. He handed me a founder and creative visionary card before he'd made a game. Taking the wife was always in scope. You open the folder, Rotlight, the lighthouse that eats light. You don't touch the code. You just look at the one thing you made before any of this had a scoreboard, then close the laptop and finish the patch. Because a million strangers need their save files. And as of tonight, they're better company. They promote you to lead the following month. Grief is a great resume. Level 6, lead developer. Grief needs a hobby, and yours is work. Because work is the one thing in Los Angeles that doesn't ask how you're holding up. You're the first one in. You're the last one out. No build breaks at 11 p.m. anymore because you kill them first. So they promote you to lead, and nobody mentions the catch until it's done. You stop writing code, not on paper. On paper, you're the senior technical person on a 12-person team. In practice, weeks go by and you don't touch the engine because your job is now people. The artist who wants it beautiful, the designer who wants it fun, the producer who wants it Tuesday. All three are correct, all three want a different thing, and you are the wall they throw it at, on a chair that costs more than your first car. Leadership, it turns out, is just deciding who to disappoint. Daily, in advance. Your calendar becomes the game. Little blocks back to back, 9 to 6, and somewhere in there is the guy who once tuned a boss fight until a stranger screamed. He does not get a calendar block. Slack ate him. Slack is Marcus with a notification sound. You realize one Thursday you can't remember the last line of code you shipped. Not the day, not the feature. It just stopped, and you didn't notice. The same way you didn't notice your wife stop asking when you'd be home. The pattern is you. Nobody warns you that you don't leave the craft in a dramatic moment. You leave it in a meeting called alignment sync, and then another one called pre-alignment sync. And then it's 2 years later and you own a Secret Lab chair and a divorce. But here's the one thing that doesn't taste like carpet. There's a junior on your team. 19, maybe 20, drowning in a bug nobody wants physics jitter on a moving platform. The exact flavor of impossible you got handed on day one. He's saying no blockers in stand-up with the specific brightness of a man fully blocked. You hold the patent on that brightness, so you stay late. 3 a.m., 2 chairs, 1 screen. You don't fix it for him. You read the commit history with him until he finds it himself. And when he does, he stands up, almost screams, remembers HR exists, sits back down. Morning stand-up, you say his name, not the team, his name. You put it in the commit as first author, where the whole company can see it. It's the credit you never got. Giving it away is the first thing in a year that doesn't feel like eating drywall. A week later, you cut his feature. A small, beautiful thing he built on the side, genuinely good, genuinely out of scope. You watch yourself say the 3 words, "It's out of scope," and you watch his face do exactly what your face did in that producer meeting. You've become the guy you swore you'd never be. And the worst part isn't that you did it. The worst part is you were right to. Somewhere in a drawer in your skull sits a build called Rotlight, a lighthouse that eats light, and for one afternoon you seriously consider pitching it as the next flagship with a real budget. Then you imagine it going through this. The alignment sinks, the color-coded calendar. The 3 words said to your lighthouse, by a man exactly like you. You don't pitch it. Some things you protect by never letting the machine smell them. Not yet anyway. Then the studio hands you the biggest job in the building. Creative direction on the next flagship. The whole vision. Every call. Yours. You say yes before you understand that owning the vision means owning the blame. In front of the entire internet. Forever. And across town, Marcus's studio announces a game in your exact genre, your exact players, your exact launch window. The collision is set. You just volunteered to stand in the middle of it. Level 7. Game Director. You own the vision now, which means you own the blame, and the blame RSVPs before the game does. You make one call delay the launch 6 months, because the game isn't fun yet, and you're the only adult willing to say it into a microphone, and the internet decides you're a villain by lunch. Not disappointed. A villain. There's a difference, and Reddit teaches it to you fast. The people who love your game the most hate you the loudest. That's the joke at the center of this whole industry, and nobody laughs once it's pointed at them. A petition to fire you, 70,000 signatures. A death threat over a weapon you nerfed by 8% from an account whose bio says family man and whose profile says 900 hours in your last game. You develop a numbness. It isn't peace, it's a callous. You stop reading the mentions the way you stop reading the texts. Then the impossible ask. Marketing wants the world to feel alive. Which is not a feature, it's a vibe. Requested by people who have never built a vibe out of if statements while eating Doritos with chopsticks, but you crack it. One small systemic thing. NPCs remember one thing you did. You help a farmer once, and 40 hours later, in a different town, his cousin waves you over and knocks a few coins off. That's the whole trick? That's it. At a preview event, a streamer trips into it by accident. Nobody told him it was there. He goes quiet. realizes the game remembered him, and gets emotional on camera in front of 30,000 live viewers and a Mountain Dew sponsorship banner. The clip does 10 million views by morning. The same internet that wanted you fired now calls you a genius. Same people. Same week. You trust the genius number exactly as much as you trusted the villain number, which is to say, not at all. You've been both in 7 days, and they're printed on the same coin, and the coin is engagement. Launch day. The day one patched the thing that's supposed to save you bricks people's saves for 3 hours. 3 hours of your name next to the word disaster. 10 years of work speedrunning into a meme with a laughing emoji. Then the patch lands, the saves come back, and the game is good, not marketed good, actually good. The alive thing, the boss fights that lose you fair word turns, and it wins Game of the Year. On stage, Jeff says your name, over Marcus, publicly. By a margin the press calls brutal. Marcus is 4 tables away, clapping with his hands not quite touching. This is the moment, the exact one. 24-year-old you, standing on the ResCon floor, holding a soft pretzel while Marcus walked off with the girl. Fantasized about this down to the lighting, and it feels like a Tuesday. It feels like a really loud Tuesday. You're standing there holding the heaviest trophy in the industry, thinking about a lighthouse, a little horror game about a keeper in the dark that 11 people played, that you built at 3 a.m. for no reason except that you wanted to. You beat Marcus. You won the whole thing. And all you want is to go home and make something small that nobody's watching. You don't have a word for that yet. In about a year, you'll quit at the top of the world to go find it, and every person you respect will tell you you've lost your mind. They might have a point. Level 8. Studio founder. You quit at the peak, which everyone calls insane, because you're supposed to write a game of the year for a decade like a landlord. You walk away from it. You take 5 people who believe in you and start a studio, so you can finally make the thing your way. No alignment sync, no 3 words, no calendar owning your one life. You rent an office above a vape shop in Echo Park that smells like mango and ambition. First investor pitch, you show them the game weird, personal, alive, and they ask for your DAU projections, daily active users, for a game you play once and finish. They ask about your engagement loop, your plan to keep a grieving person logging in daily to a story about grief. One of them, 28 in a Patagonia vest over a hoodie, asks if it can be more like Fortnite. Your game has none of that. That is the entire point of your game. They pass, politely, not scalable. Then they invest in an app that delivers ice. So you sign a publisher deal instead, funds the dream, and on page 19 quietly owns the sequel rights to a game you haven't finished dreaming. You read page 19 twice. You sign it anyway. The door is always worth it, right up until you're through it. You hire 15 people. 15 humans who move to LA for you, sign leases on the strength of your name, and you learn what founding actually is. 10% making games. 90% being personally, legally, spiritually responsible for 15 people's rent. 8 months in, the money gets thin, the publisher milestone slips, and you have to do the thing you swore you'd never become. Except worse, because this isn't a feature. These are people with car payments. You lay off 3 of the 15. You do it in person, badly, no HR script, no, we've made the difficult decision. You look them in the eye and say you failed to manage the runway and you're sorry, because you did and you are. It's the worst afternoon of your professional life. Meanwhile, a real company across the country lays off 800 people the same week with a LinkedIn post that opens I'm humbled to share and gets 40,000 likes. So at least you did it with your face. Months later, one of their messages you landed at Riot. Doing fine, and says your broke little studio was still the best job he ever had. It doesn't fix a thing. It's just the only thing that helps, and the man who won Game of the Year now measures wins in that. Then your game ships, and it's yours flawed, strange, alive. The boss fights fair, the NPCs remembering. It doesn't outsell the giants. Never going to. But it earns the one thing they can't buy. People who love it on purpose, who tattoo the logo, who show up for whatever you make next. The exact loyal audience Marcus's studio is hemorrhaging because his studio, the one that outsold you with a 2-hour good game, now sells $3 flashlight skins to survive, in a game that used to be about something. You beat him again. Quietly this time. You barely notice. The Rotlight folder is still on a drive in your desk, 15 years old. You promise it what you've promised for a decade. After this, after the deal, the milestone, the fire, you'll build it after. It has heard this before. It's a very patient lighthouse. Then 2 things arrive the same week. A megacorp offers to acquire your studio for a number with too many zeros to say out loud. Take it, you never worry about payroll again, and you never fully own your work again. Same trade as always. Bigger door. And an email. From Marcus. Subject line. Reconnect. He wants to grab coffee, catch up, explore synergies. And under every syllable is a man whose studio is on fire asking you specifically for a glass of water. You take the acquisition meeting, and you leave his email on read. Level 9. Studio CEO. The acquisition closes on a Tuesday. You sign. And the kid who opened Unity in a Buffalo bedroom to spite one man and impress one girl now signs the paychecks for 1,000 people who make games for a living. Your calendar isn't color-coded blocks anymore. It's acquisitions, board decks. A global roadmap with launch windows in 11 time zones and Aquames as a service strategy you present in rooms with no windows to men who say synergies without irony. You are extremely good at this. You have not opened a game engine in 2 years. That's the trade nobody warns you about at the top. You don't run out of games to make. You run out of Tuesdays to make them in. Then a due diligence meeting. A struggling studio up for acquisition cheap. You know the name before they say it. It's Marcus's. And he's in the room. Older, tired, the charisma running on the last 2% of battery. When it's his turn, he slides a folder across the table. And inside is a resume, where a business card used to be, 15 years ago, on a convention floor in Buffalo. You could end him right there. Everyone would understand. It's the exact moment 24-year-old you would have sold the Acer for. You give him a job instead, mid-level, on a team, under a lead who has never heard the word res-con and never will, because the cleanest revenge isn't the one where you win. It's the one where you don't need the guy to lose anymore. The card that said founder and creative visionary is now a line item you approve on the second Thursday of the month. Then, a Tuesday with nothing on it. First empty afternoon in years. No board deck, no launch, no fire, no Marcus. You open the old folder. Rotlight is still there. A lighthouse that eats light. A keeper alone in the dark, exactly as janky as the night you finished a save file patch while your marriage ended on the other monitor. 15 years and you never shipped it. You put on headphones. It's 3 a.m. and you build. Not for the board. Not for the roadmap. Not for 1,000 employees or a Metacritic score or a man 4 tables away clapping with his hands not quite touching. For the room of one you started as. It takes a few weeks of stolen 3 a.m.s. You ship it on Steam quietly, under a fake name so nobody buys it for the logo on the box. No marketing. No wish lists. No TikTok. You pay Valve the $100 yourself, like a civilian. It sells almost nothing. A few hundred copies. And one stranger, somewhere you'll never meet, with what is unmistakably an anime cat for a profile picture, leaves a comment. This is actually kind of fun. Same words, 15 years apart. The whole career round trip for one sentence from a man with a cartoon cat. Your ex-wife's contact is still in your phone. You scroll past it. You don't call. She got mighty taco in the divorce, spiritually, and she's welcome to it. You run one of the biggest studios on the planet. 1,000 people make games because you say go. And the truest thing you ever made is a lighthouse nobody knows is yours that sold a few hundred copies under a name that isn't your name to a cat. That was always the whole job. Took you 15 years and one mighty taco marriage to hear it. If this one stayed with you, drop a comment with the first game that ever made you want to make games. And subscribe, there's a lot of levels left.